Today, I'm gonna teach you about transmuting your sexual energy. You will learn something today, son. This is what Napoleon Hill knew, what he wrote about in his book, but never actually taught you how to do it. And that's what I'm here to do, my friends. I'm here to teach you how to transmute your sexual energy like a man, like a true man, okay? Let's get into it. You may be asking yourself, Jonathan, what the hell is this ugly piece of shit over here? And before you write in the comments, you'll never be good at drawing, go kill yourself. I'm definitely no Da Vinci, I'm fine with that, but I thought it's nice to have a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, as well as the metaphor that I'm using here. So you may not be able to tell what this is at all. Let me break it down for you. We've got basically a campfire type situation here. There's the fire, there's the wood, and there's light emanating from the fire. And you're like, why does the fire have a smiley face? Well, you ever play Mario Bros? You know how everything has like a face on it, like all the blocks and the hills and the landscape and shit has faces on it? I love it. Okay, so each of these represents a piece of the process of transmuting sexual energy. And if you get any one of these three things wrong, it's not gonna work. So let me break it down for you. The first thing, we've got our wood. And I'm holding on to this thing because my setup is pretty janky. This whole thing's about to fall off the stand. The wood, which is the fuel. We need wood to build a fire. We need fuel to keep the fire burning. And so the fuel is our sexual energy. It's our desire. It's the drive to procreate. It's an animalistic impulse. It's a physicality. And so it's also our vitality. In Chinese medicine, we would use the word jing. Jing is physical essence. And again, this is very much our hormones, our vitality. So have you ever felt that sweet tingle in your genitals when you're aroused, when you see a stimulating picture of a hot woman, maybe some big booty hoe on Instagram? You feel something stir in your genital regions. And then what happens? Do you just sit there and watch it like, oh, that's interesting? Or do you feel like you need to act on that urge? You know, I'm just curious, what is your response to that? Because I can tell you, for me personally, that used to be an itch I needed to scratch right away. As soon as I felt that, ooh, that's something down there, you know what I'm saying? It was like, I gotta get this out of me. I gotta jerk off and just get it out of me. Well, that's like taking your wood and just throwing it away. You put it in the dumpster, give it to the garbage man. You're like, I can't handle this. You take it. You're wasting it. It's gone. So ideally, we learn to contain this energy, the desire, the impulse. We hold it. We start to get comfortable holding it in our body through the practice of semen retention in sexual kung fu. We don't ejaculate, at least not frequently. You can ejaculate every now and then, but overall, you need to go long enough to where you have enough wood, enough fuel to feed your fire. And it doesn't end there. This is where a lot of people get stuck. Where a lot of men get stuck is like they think that, well, if I just have a lot of wood, if I just have, just practice semen retention, then boom, I'm good to go. But it's like, what the hell are you gonna do with all that wood? You have a giant stockpile of wood and you don't have a fire to burn it. You don't have a way to light your house that, you know what I mean? It doesn't do you much good, let's face it. So this brings us to the next principle, which is, we got our Mario Bro fireman here. The fire represents combustion. And this is essentially, I'm just gonna write SKF practice here, and I'll talk more about this. A really simple one is testicle breathing, which uses the microcosmic orbit, which I've talked about in other videos, which is the pathway how your energy moves in your body. So here's the thing. We don't just want to keep that wood, that desire in our balls. If it just sits there, it doesn't do us a whole lot of good. Like, yeah, you'll be really horny, you'll be impulsive, and you'll have some more energy, but without creating a transformation. This is all about transformation. This is a process of, we could say, alchemy. We're taking this raw substance and we're using fire to turn it into something more usable. We'll get to the third piece here, what that really means. So the combustion is essentially your your practice that you do, which transforms the form of the energy which transforms the energy that's just sitting in your junk, transforming your sexual energy, transforming your sexual desire into something else. And I use testicle breath work. I mean, I guess technically testicle breath work, I just invented a new practice, guys. All the conscious bros in 2025 are gonna be doing testicle breath work. All right, testicle breathing. I don't know if you guys can even read my handwriting, but here it is. Testicle breathing, which is a practice where you breathe into your balls and you move your sexual energy through the microcosmic orbit, you move it through your body. I have a guided video on it. Practice this every day because you're gonna need this, all right? So what we're doing here is we're redirecting the energy because the fuel, the wood, the base substance, your vitality, it's the substrate for all of this is your sexual energy. It wants to move, it needs to move, pure desire. But most men have been conditioned from porn, to seek an external release, to just waste this energy. And what a fucking waste. What a massive waste of an incredibly precious resource, which can literally, you can create anything with it, okay? Massive, unending potential with it. So this is basically the core of sexual kung fu practice, is creating a new pathway and developing the skill set to where you can guide the energy and program it to start interacting with the rest of your body. Instead of staying as just this horny, frustrating energy in your genitals, it changes the form. As it moves through your body, it's like taking ice and turning it into water. Now it's this fluid substance that is a little more usable. You can grow things with it. You can nourish things with it, right? Now it's this liquid substance that now it's this alchemical agent, this liquid usable substance that you can use, because the properties of sexual energy are that it is an amplifier and it is a bonding agent. It bonds things together like psychic superglue. It bonds you to thoughts, feelings, actions. It amplifies these things. So that is why we want to move it through the body, so that we can choose what we use to interact with this pure desire energy instead of discarding it. And let me ask you this. What's your sexual energy doing for you right now? Do you get horny for success, for productivity, do you put your sex drive into your career? Do you put it into your relationship? Well, there's an obvious, besides just sex, like do you allow your sexual energy to fuel you to become a more integrated, confident, compassionate, driven person? Do you do that? Ask yourself the question, do you legitimately do that? And have you experienced massive transformation in your life from using your sexual energy? Because if not, something's wrong. You're not doing it correctly. Because once you get this whole process down, things are going to completely transform. And that is what brings us to where we really want to go. This is all a process, but obviously, we want some end results as well, is the light that is emanating from the fire. And the light is consciousness. And what this really is, gotta bend down here, we go. Unlimited creative potential. Unlimited creative potential. This is what consciousness is. Consciousness is not just thoughts in your mind. That's one level of it. It's not just like this mental thing. Consciousness is the ability to create and alter reality. That is what consciousness is. So with this definition of consciousness, you could ask yourself, how much are you creating and altering your reality? Maybe you are completely creating the reality you desire. Maybe everything is fantastic. All your goals you've created are being met. You're just crushing. Fantastic, that's great. Or maybe you actually don't have consciousness. You are living in someone else's reality. You have accepted the viewpoints of your parents, your teachers, and society as your own. This is not consciousness. This is the opposite. This is unconsciousness. Someone else's consciousness is driving you. So this is also basically claiming your own identity, claiming your own creation, because you are creating everything around you. You are creating everything in your life. Take a look at the space you're in right now. I don't know, maybe you're you're in your room at home, maybe in your mom's basement, maybe you're jerking off in a closet somewhere, I don't know, wherever you are, take a look around. That is the reality you have created. You are responsible for that. No one else is but you. And the fact is that if you're unhappy with it, it's because your own consciousness has not overpowered the consciousness of those around you. Usually it's from laziness. Just let's be real. A lot of people in the modern world are lazy. They're too lazy to cultivate this level of consciousness, this level of conviction. It really is it's a conviction. I'm going to write that because this is an important word. It's one thing to have a desire like, yeah, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, blah, blah, blah. But what is conviction? Conviction is nothing is going to stop you until you attain your outcome. So, after that little rant here, basically, light. So the fuel, the wood, burns. The fire is the transformation of the wood. It's an element of itself, but it's this transformative combustive process. And from that emanates light. You go into a dark room, pitch black room, you strike a tiny little match, it lights up the room. It illuminates the room. That is the power of consciousness, and that is the power of your sexual energy transmutation. Boom! So what happens? This is really the goal here, right? But this is all a process. Each piece is important. So once your sexual energy is transmuting, it's moving through your system. There's still another step, which is to develop your consciousness, to develop your light, your unlimited creative potential. And the sexual energy is it's a substrate for this. You need this sexual energy to create. You cannot create a human without an orgasm, straight up. And that's one of the laws of the universe. Sexual energy creates. You must have sex to create something. And you must have sexual energy, orgasmic burst of creative potential. So this agent of combustion that comes from our raw fuel creates this consciousness. And to harness this, you must start to awaken your mind. You must start to liberate your mind. You must start to dream. You must start to imagine. What do you want to create? What do you want in your life? If you're always complaining about, oh, this is bad, that's bad, the world's bad, this is bad, I hate him, I hate them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's cool. That's what you're creating because you're focusing on that. Your mind, leaking it away. So you start to focus your consciousness on the things you want to create. You start to dream big. You start to get very clear. What do I want? Who do I want to be? How much money do I want to make? What kind of relationship do I want to have? And you put yourself in a state of feeling that you've already attained that. You write these things down, you read it out loud, you feel what it would feel like to have these things. But that's not the final piece either. Because what you get from all of this whole process together creates your unstoppable momentum. Unstoppable momentum. Okay? You're doing this process. You're managing your sexual energy. You're not just ejaculating because you feel like it. In fact, having non-ejaculatory sex builds more of this sexual vitality and energy and desire that you use this process to transmute, to circulate through your body. And then you use your consciousness to transform it into other things. You're turning this raw desire of your sexual energy, you're moving it, transforming it, combusting it, and interacting and using your consciousness to imagine, to dream, to actualize your desires. And then you take action on it. You take action as well. And you have unstoppable momentum with this whole process. Because what a lot of people get wrong is they isolate one of these pieces. Like, a lot of the semen retention bros. Yeah, man, just retain your semen, just go 300 days and chicks will fucking come out of the woodwork and you'll all of a sudden have your third eye open and $1 million in bank account. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. No, it doesn't happen like that. And also some people just focus on this part. Just law of attraction, just imagine what you want and it'll all come to you. Like, has that worked for you? Like, it works for some people, and it's not to say that never works, but probably a large percent of people just doing like visualization stuff, their bank account's not growing, their life's not changing, they're just fantasizing. So it's all these things. And It's the action. This is one of the most important parts as well. The consciousness is the seed. You're creating a construct. You're creating the potential. Everything that's ever been invented started as a thought in someone's mind. And with the thought, with the feeling of it as well, the emotion, feeling like you've attained the thing, it creates a ripple in the universe. It opens up this path. But probably 90% of the time, the thing's not just going to come to you out of nowhere. Like, you don't get something for nothing. This is what Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich. You must take action. You must prove you are worthy of accomplishing that which you wish to achieve. You can't just sit around with your dick in your hand and expect everything to get done. Okay? You got to get out there. You got to get dirty. You got to face your fears. Do some uncomfortable shit. You can't be a lazy little bitch. Okay? You have to fucking do something with your life. And this goes against a lot of kind of modern conditioning of, well, just be soft and gentle and respect people's feelings and it's okay. Fuck that shit. You're not going to get anywhere doing that shit. Okay? You got to slap yourself in the face, say, I'm done being a lazy little bitch. I'm going to get off my fucking ass, put some porn blockers on, stop eating Impossible Burgers. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start retaining my semen. I'm going to start practicing sexual kung fu. I'm going to start dreaming big and actualizing that which I want to accomplish. It doesn't matter the specific plan. As long as when you're visualizing things, when you have the consciousness in your mind, you start to get inspired. You start to get ideas. You start to act on these ideas. You start to work for it, and you'll be mind blown at what you accomplish. That was supposed to be a mic drop. I got a dry eraser marker drop. That's all I can do. One more question for you, and then I want to tell you a little story. Do you have it clear in your mind what you want to accomplish in life? Do you map out your ideal reality? Do you know how much money you want to make? Do you know exactly what kind of relationship you want to have? Do you know what you want to do with yourself? What do you have to give to the world? Everything. You've got to get clear on what it is that you want and then start feeling those things. Seeing yourself having accomplished it, feel the feeling in your body, and when you're doing all this together, you can't not win. And it's not to say there's not going to be challenges. That's the first thing that's going to happen is you get tested. As soon as you start transforming yourself, as soon as you start going against the current, the sharks come to try to pull you back down. And that is when you need all of this the most. That is when you need your conviction to be strongest and your fire burning bright, your light illuminating. So no one taught me this whole picture. I had to put the thing together myself. I learned pieces. I learned Taoist and Tantric practices of circulating sexual energy and withholding, having non-ejaculatory orgasms so that I wasn't missing anything during sex. And I learned kind of new agey and business concepts of money mindset and law of attraction type stuff. But it was once I started to see how all this put together that I developed unstoppable momentum in my life. And it's not to say I didn't have my periods of laziness where I kind of got out of the flow and life kicked my ass around a little bit. That's fine. It happens, whatever. But I always got myself back up. So when I began this process I'm telling you about right now, about 8 years ago, 7-8 years ago, I was 27 years old. I was literally making like $1,500 a month, okay? I was broke as fuck. And I was okay with it because I was on my spiritual path, whatever. Well, then I realized if I want to make impact in the world, if I want to really do something incredible, I can't just like sit around in a cave like a hermit meditating, I need resources if I'm going to make a difference in this world. And I started putting these things into action. I started to feel what it felt like to, at the time, just double my income. Making $4,000 a month used to seem like a lot to me. And then after a few months, it happened. Literally within like months, it happened because I was also taking massive action. I was learning, I was studying. I was like, how do I do the things I want to do? I don't want a normal bullshit 9-to-5 job. I want to do something badass with my life. I want to love every minute of my life overall. And then I remember when making 10K a month seemed like crazy to me. I was like, what would I even do with that much money? And then it happened and it was like, oh shit, okay, well, it still wasn't like financial freedom like I'd imagined. And then 2 years ago, I had my first 100K month. It was like, what? I didn't think that was even possible 10 years ago. Why? Because the consciousness of others had made me stuck in a very lack mindset, a very I can't, I'm not good enough mindset. It's complete fucking bullshit. You choose what you want. You choose who you want to be, what you're going to create. It's a choice. If someone tells you, well, you'll never be able to do that, they're a slave to a system designed to keep them mediocre. Straight up. So I hope you have found this video hopefully a little bit informative, a little bit inspiring, and I want to ask you right now, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about this right now? Is this just another entertaining video that you're like, okay, that was nice, feel good, and what's the next video I'm going to click on? No. Make your action plan right now. When are you going to practice? What do you want your goals to be? You got to do this or it's never going to happen. You have to start right now. So your next steps. So now your next steps right now. Depends which one of these you need to strengthen, and maybe it's all of them. So this is what you're going to do. For your fuel, you're going to go through my semen retention playlist. I'll put a link in the video description. For your fire, your combustion, practice testicle breathing. I have a guided video. It's in the description. Do it every day. For your consciousness, your light, watch my video on sexual energy and manifestation. I'll put a link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, get my free ejaculation control course through the link in the video description, and let me know in the comments what steps are you doing today to change your life. Go get it, boys.